All right, so let's look at number 15. It says solve each system by graphing. All right, so in order to solve these by graphing, you have to be able to graph them. In order to be able to graph them, you have to have them in y equals mx plus b format, and they're not currently in y equals mx plus b format. So 10x equals negative 2y minus 6. I'm going to have to get that in y equals mx plus b, which means I want the y by itself, which means I don't want this negative 6 here, so I'm going to add 6 to both sides. That's going to get me 10x plus 6 on this side equals negative 2y. Still don't have the y by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And then I'm just going to flip these. I'm going to put the y on this side just to make it a little easier. And then what is 10 divided by 10x divided by negative 2? That's negative 5x. 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. Okay? So I can come over here and I can graph this. I can go to negative 3. Then I'm going to go down 5. Well, I can't quite do that. So I'm going to go up 5. But because I went the wrong direction, I have to go backwards 1 instead of forward 1. Okay? And if I tried to go up 5, and again, I would be off the graph. So I'm going to go ahead and graph that. And then I have to turn this one into y equals mx plus b format. So I need to get this 2x away from here. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And I'm going to have 2y on this side. Let's make that more like a y. And I'm going to have negative 2x plus 2 on this side. I'm going to divide 2 by 2 on both sides. I'm going to switch them. So y equals negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1x. 2 divided by 2 is a positive 1. So I'm going to go to positive 1 and put a dot. And then I'm going to go down 1, forward 1. And I know I'm not going to get it going that way, so I'm going to go up 1, backwards 1. There is the answer right there where they intersect. And I am going to graph that. Okay. Then I'm going to say, what is that answer? That answer is negative 1, positive 2. That is A. Okay. Just so you know, you do have to get these into y equals mx plus b format, but you can also put them in the calculator here. If you put it in y equals, you can put negative 5x minus 3 in for the first y1. And for y2, you can put negative 1x plus 1 in there, okay? Once you do that, you can graph it, just like that. And then you can calculate the intersection, number 5. And then you have to push enter 3 times, and it will tell you your intersection is negative 1, 2. So you can verify that you graphed it correctly with the calculator. All right, let's look at number 16. It is the same thing. We have to get it into y equals mx plus b format. So on this one, the y is over here. I want to get the y by itself, so I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides. Y equals negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. This is a 1 in front of this x. 1 divided by 4 is 1/4 x. This is backwards of the way I normally want it, so I'm going to turn it around. A positive 1/4 x and a negative 2. I left the positive with this one, the negative with this one. So then I'm going to go to negative 2, and I'm going to go up 1, forward 4. And I'm also going to go down 1, backwards 4. I do try to get as many dots as possible when I'm doing a system because I'm more likely to find the intersection that way. When I'm just graphing a single line, I don't worry about it, but when I'm doing a system, I do try to graph as many dots as possible. Okay, so negative 2y equals negative 3x minus 6. Once again, the y is right here, so I have to divide by negative 2 because I'm trying to get the y by itself. And if I do -3 divided by -2, and I do math enter, I'm gonna get a positive 3/2 x. -6 divided by -2, I'm gonna get a positive 3. So I'm gonna graph that by going to positive 3, and then I'm gonna go up 3. Can't quite do that going this way without going off, so I'm gonna go down 3, backwards 2, and I went backwards because I went the opposite direction. So even though it says forward here, if I go opposite on the one, I have to do the opposite on the other. So I'm going to do it again because I haven't found the intersection point yet. Down 3, backwards 2. There is the intersection point right there. That is going to be the solution to this system. And that is a -4, -3. Okay? And once again, I can check that with my calculator by going to y equals and clearing these out and then putting my new, I like to put my fractions in parentheses, just a good practice so that you can consistently make sure it works correctly. So if it's a fraction, put it in parentheses. And then graph it. And then calc is, you go to second and then the trace button to get to calc. And then number 5 is intersect, and then you have to enter 3 times. And it says -4, -3. That's what we have. So we verified that is correct.